everybody, Tim Norris here, aka GreyElephant.
And Carmen Norris.
And welcome to a Kickstarter preview by GreyElephant Gaming. Today we're going to be taking a look at
Mogul. And we're going to go ahead and play the entire first season so you get a really good feel of the game in real time. So without further ado, alaboom.
Alright, here we are. We're all set up, and why don't we go over the board a little bit, and then we're going to explain to you on how the game actually works in real time. First off, Carmen is yellow, I am blue. This here, the green track, is the finance track, and both of us will put a cube on the number 1. We have the technology track, which is the blue one here. We're going to put one of our cubes on the number 1. And then we have the culture track, which is the pink one down here. This is the tiebreaker track. This will come into play whenever Carmen and I are playing cards, bid cards of the same value. Whoever is the highest on the tiebreaker track wins the tiebreaker, and then this would switch initiative because of that. So we'll show how that works as the game plays. This right here is the power track that goes around the outside. It goes from 1 to 30. As you make laps, you can put little blocks on your little piece there to show that you made a lap, blah, blah, blah. But both of us will start out on the little star, which is basically 0 power. This is the organization track. And the way that this works is it goes from number 1 down to 12. And we have a 3 and a 6, okay? The 3 stands for how many cards we could have in our reserves, which reserves are down here. These are cards that are either going to be like actions that we're going to take, they're going to be in-game scoring bonus cards, or they're going to be companies that eventually we want to put up into our area here, which is our companies, the number 6 spot, or it's got 6 that we can hold at the beginning of the game. Now, just because it says 6, it doesn't mean you can't have more companies up there, but that means active companies. So if I ever have more than 6 up here, I have to flip them upside down and they become inactive until I can expand my company or my organization, and then as you see, it will increase the size of the companies and also the size of the cards I can have in reserve as well. This here is the season tracker, and the way that this works is that we have 6 seasons. Each season has 5 rounds. So there is a total of 30 rounds because there are 6 seasons. During each season, we are going to be able to purchase power. That's what the number 1 and the number 0 marker are for. The number 1 marker says for the end of this season, if we want, we can purchase power for $1. But there's also a bid card, the number 4, that will allow us to reduce the cost of purchasing power by half. So, by playing that card, it will reduce the purchase of power to 0. However, you have to make sure that you're high enough on the track, which we'll explain how that works as we are playing the game. So, what we are going to do now is we are going to take the top 4 cards. Now, mind you, we are going to show you how you play with 2 players. This works differently when you add 3 all the way up to 5 players. In a 2-player game, we are going to draw 4 cards off of the Mogul deck each time and place them into the center of the table as so. Now, Carmen and I are both going to look at what we got here, and keep in mind, at the beginning of the game, we always start with small cap companies. So you have small cap, you have medium cap, then you have large cap. Small caps are easy for you to obtain. Medium caps a little bit harder. Larger caps, I think you get the point. They become more difficult to obtain as the game continues.
And they give you more bonuses.
Right, but keep in mind, you put 6 small caps on top of the deck to help you get started. After those 6 are done, you can have a large cap and pop out immediately, but that's what the reserves are for. So you can place it down here, then later you can try to place it up into your active companies once you are able to have enough on these tracks and also the money to be able to purchase it. So.
Just an FYI, on games with more players, the cards that you draw equals the number of players.
Exactly. So in a 2-player game, though, we'll draw 4. If it was a 3-player game, only 3 would be out, and we'd each take 1. So Carmen and I are now going to go through our cards here. We are each going to select one. We have a 1 through 9 bid card, and the way that this works is that we are both going to plop down a bid card face down, and when we are ready, we reveal it, and we both did a number 2. Okay, so the number 2 reveal or bid card says you could raise either organization or a skill by 1 by paying the dollar equal to the new level. Okay, so what happens first is that Carmen wins this bid because she is higher on the tiebreaker track. So what happens now is she goes down and I go up. So the next time we play a bid card, I will win the tiebreaker. However, Carmen gets her selection of one of these companies that are in the center of the table. And there are several different things on these cards. So for instance, it looks like Carmen was going to take ample abodes. And let's look at the top of the card. Right at the top, it tells you the name of the company. If you look to the left, just a little bit in the gray bar there, it says a dollar amount, 5, so it's going to cost her $5 to be able to make this an active company. Then from there to the right of the $5, it's got a 1F, 1T, 1C. Well, that means that you must be at least on the 1 on the finance track, a 1 on the technology track, and a 1 on the culture track. Well, that's where we do start the game off, so she can meet the requirements to instantly put this card or this company into her active company, out here to be active. I'm sorry, I stuttered. Now, if we look down, it says skills, and it's got a T. What that means is that she can now advance, once this becomes an active company in her tableau, she can now advance her marker on this technology track 1 space forward. And as you can see, as she keeps advancing, it's going to be better for her to be able to try to get more difficult companies. Go down a little bit further, then it says dividends. Dividends is the amount this company is going to pay out to her at the end of the season. So she's going to get $1 for having this company active in her tableau at the end of the season. Then it says bonus. This little bonus symbol means that she's going to be able to move up immediately 1 space on this organization track. See, so now she's going to go from being able to have 6 companies to 7 active companies in her tableau. Then she's also got a little box over that says flip and liquidate. Okay, so let's go over that real quick. The flip is that if she decides that she just wants this to be able to get the money from, she would take the card, flip it over, it goes into the discard pile. So it does not go into her reserves, it does not go into her active company tableau. She just wants $2. That's all she wants. The liquidate value means that she did make it an active company, but she doesn't want this company anymore. So what she is going to do, she's decided to liquidate it. So she is going to get the value of the flip and the liquidate price, which would be $3, by removing this out of her tableau into the discard pile. So now that Carmen has decided to purchase it, we both start with $8. She would pay the total amounts.
You know what? I changed my mind because if I ever were to liquidate this company, I would lose the bonus.
Yes.
So I don't want to take that chance.
After all of that.
Yes. But the other companies really are just as good. So why don't I just flip this one since I already chose it?
Now see, I would have preferred to have taken it, but that's okay.
Get the $2.
See, this is where Carmen always does bad because I believe in buying companies early is the name of the game. So I am going to purchase, let's see, I'm going to get More Wealth Inc. And this one here cost me $4 to purchase, so I'm going to spend $5. I'm going to get $1 in return. And this also is going to allow me to advance 1 space on my finance and 1 space on my culture. And then it will stay up here in my active pool. And, the only one thing is, now okay, you go ahead first. I'll do this after we're both done. Go ahead.
Okay, well, what I was going to say was you're not going to be able to purchase 2 companies. So
no,
it makes
exactly.
no difference.
I forgot, yeah.
So I'm just going to purchase one of these.
Well,
I think I'll go with this one.
Okay, so then that one would cost you $4.
Yes.
And that allows you to move up 2 in the finance. Okay, so now I've got an option here. Now, my number 2 card says I could either raise my organization or a skill level by paying the dollar amount. Well, to be able to do that, I'm going to have to pay at least $2. If I do that, I can't afford this other company. So my options are, I go ahead and take advantage of the bonus on the 2 bid by advancing my organization, or by advancing one of these skills, or I go ahead and just decide to put it into my active company. Now, keep in mind, by just going ahead and paying and putting it into my active company, I'm getting a raise on 2 skills, so I think that is more beneficial. So instead of paying, I'm just going to go ahead and pay the $4 out.
Good point.
And I'm going to raise on my technology and my culture again.
Okay.
So, now that that's done, both these bid cards are going to go away.
Now, the bid cards, you can play them, the action on them at any time. So we could have already done this. But I was going to go ahead and pay to raise my organization level.
That's
because it's cheap right now. If I want to pay later, it's going to be more expensive.
Yeah, but you see, if you would have taken that 1, you could have been up to the number 3 on organization.
I could, but
instead of liquidating it on me
Yeah.
or flipping it, and then I could have at least had it.
Ah.
Okay, so what happens now? That was round 1. Okay.
it did go through my mind that I was keeping him from getting it.
So what I'm going to do is I'm going to flip this over right here to show that we are now on round 2. Now you can also go buy the cards in your discard pile, but I'm going to just leave that there as a neat reminder because it's easier for you guys to see that. Okay, now we've got some different types of cards that are showing up here. We have extra action cards and special agendas. Now keep in mind at the beginning of the game, something that I failed to tell you is that both Carmen and I selected a special agenda card that we keep in secret from one another. Special agenda cards are cards that are going to give you bonus points at the end of the game. Now, this is a good example of a special agenda card. This one is called Schemes, and it's saying for 4 power, you gain 4 power for each special agenda in your reserves, including this one. So what this one is saying is that towards the end of the game, mind you, there would be a total of 30 rounds for as many of the special agendas, and if we look down here, we can see that we could have up to 6 cards in our reserves. So you would get 4 victory points for each one of those. So as you can see, they could really stack and become very powerful. Now these typically are going to trigger at the end of the game automatically, or you can trigger them by using certain bid cards as well to get them out of your reserves. The other thing we have here is an extra action card, which this one is called Basic Bribery. And this one is saying that you can buy up to 5 power at half the current price rounded up. Now keep in mind, it says half the current price rounded up, so it would cost us $1, which is actually the same exact value as what we would be paying at the end of the season anyways.
Oh yeah, it's more than what's on our season tracker for half price because this is rounded down, that's rounded up.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. So, but anyways, these extra actions, the way that they function is that they will allow you to be able to take. You can use that extra action immediately, or you could place it. Thank you, sweetie. Or you could place it in your reserves and use it whenever you decide to. Maybe in a later round or a season or whatever. But just pay attention to what it says because some of them could possibly say use right away or whatever. But I don't think we've come across that. So, all right. So both of us are now once again going to go ahead and pull out one of our bid cards, and then we are going to do this again. Ooh, you know what? Yes. Now, I've got no money. That's not good, right? So what I am going to do is I'm going to play my number 7 bid. Carmen played her number 8, so she's beaten me again. So Carmen, what does your number 8 card allow you to do?
Reduce the cost of starting a company by $1, or get an extra $1 for each company you liquidate and business plan you flip.
Okay, so that means you go ahead first and you get your selection of one of these 4 cards.
Okay, I'm thinking I want one of those companies, but then again,
Yep.
This is a good special agenda, and I
It
can
is a very
still
good special
get a
agenda.
company. So I'm going to choose this one, put it in my reserves.
And that'll go in her reserves. Okay, I am going to use my bonus ability on my number 7 card, which says either liquidate a company or flip a business plan in your reserves. Well, I have no business plans in my reserves, but I am going to immediately liquidate one of my companies. So I am going to liquidate this one here, which will give me $3 that I now get to add to here. And now I am going to grab this Basic Bribery extra action card and place it here, even though I don't need it, but I have I don't really have a plan here, actually. Instead, I'm going to flip this one here, and that will give me $2. That way, that'll keep Carmen from getting it.
So now I can't get it. See what we do to each other?
Well, I know I'm going to get stuck with this one anyway.
So I'm going to buy this company for $3. And that moves up my finance
and your technology.
And technology.
Yep.
Okay.
Okay. And then I will grab the Basic Bribery. Now, keep in mind this will not benefit me too much right now, but it will at the as the game progresses. But we are not going to play an entire game. We're just going to play one season for you to give you a good idea on how this game works, and then we're going to do like in-game scoring. Okay. So everything then would just go over to here, and we're going to pull out 4 new cards again.
Ooh.
Okay. Oh, these are getting expensive.
Yeah, we don't have the skills we need.
No,
so.
that's what reserves are for, though, right?
Okay.
Let's see here. All right. Well, I think I'll just play this one. So I'm going to play my number 5. And you went 5 as well.
Yes.
But because we're tied, I do break that, so I will get to go first, and then we rotate that to where she'll be. So number 5 says choose your finance. So that's where these little gears on the finance track come into play. So if you notice, I'm on the number 2 level, and there's one gear underneath that. What that means is that I get to activate this card one time, or this ability one time. So this is saying choose your finance of your companies, okay? So for each one, you get money equal to its dividends. So what I get to do is immediately cash in these dividends. So I'm going to grab $2 out of the bank and add it to here. And now I get to select one of these cards as well. I'm not going to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I'm not even close to be able to do anything here. But this one is a large capacity company. And if I flip it's called the Terrace Avenue Market. So if I flip it, I'm going to get $5 more. So I'm going to flip that out of there, grab $5 more out of the bank, and add it to my supply.
Okay.
And Carmen, it is now your turn.
And I have the same card, but I have 2 gears, so that indicates that I can choose 2 companies.
Yep.
So I get dividends from both of mine. That's $4.
4 big ones. And then you still get to select one of these companies.
Yes, I am trying to figure out
yes.
which one I want. I'm kind of low on the culture track.
You have no culture, man.
So, why don't I go...
Just grab one, sweetie.
This one.
There you go. Okay, and then I'll just grab this one here, and I'm going to stick it down into my reserves. Now, keep in mind, we're not playing a whole game, but the way that this could work is eventually I can move this out of my reserves and into my active.
Now, I just wanted to point out why I chose this one. It's going to give a bonus whenever I activate the company of 2 power. And it's going to give dividends of 2 power every season, as long as I have it.
Correct. Now, one thing about the bonus, though, is that you will lose that if you ever liquidate the company. Now, this one will be yours as well. And you can either flip it or go ahead.
And I will flip it for $4.
Okay. So now these will go away, and we're going to pull out 4 more cards.
I have a lot of ones.
I has a lot. Oh, okay, here we now. We got an event that has occurred. Now, events are negative things. They have the red lightning bolt on them. This one here is specifically called taxes, and it says pay $1 or 1 power, then pay an additional $1 per $5 you have. So you don't want a lot of money. This is going to take a lot of your stuff from you. So whoever gets stuck with that is going to have that negative thing happen to them. So let's see here. But given the fact it's kind of early in the game, it may not be a big deal. So I am going to play this card here. And let's wait and see what Carmen decides to pick. Okay, let's turn them over. I'm number 8.
I'm crazy.
You're number 9.
Because I didn't want those taxes.
So number 9 is the highest card that you can use to...
Yes.
So, okay, Carmen, go ahead. You make your first... It gives you no special abilities, though. So go ahead.
Right. I didn't want the taxes, and I can actually activate this company. So that's why I did that.
I really was hoping to get that. I didn't think you'd play the 9. So, okay, so that does give her the bonus where she moves up on her organization again. Jiminy Cricket, you're killing me. All right, I would really like to, if I could activate this thing, but unfortunately I am too weak, so I'm just going to flip it for now and get the $4. Yes, and I'll get the $4. Okay, and then put $1 back. Go ahead.
Okay.
Yeah, go ahead. I'm sorry.
I have one more spot in my reserves, so I'm going to grab this card to use in the future because it's going to let me get +2 to any one skill for the round, which might help me activate this one. So
okay, so now what's going to happen to me is that I have the taxes that I'm going to have to take. However, I'm going to use my basic bribery card first. And this is my extra action, and it says buy up to 5 power at half the current price, rounded up.
Oh yeah, you can use extra action cards at any time.
So what that's going to allow me to do is I can buy 5 power for $5. So I'm going to spend the $5. Now I've gained 5 power. And now these taxes, I'm going to have to take that, and it will hurt me still. So the taxes say pay $1 or 1 power. Then pay an additional $1 per $5 you have. So I am going to pay the $1 instead of the power, and now I've got to pay $1 for every 5 I have. Well, I've only got 9, so that's going to cost me $1 extra. So it doesn't really hurt you too bad at the beginning of the game. So now that goes away. We are now going to be, I believe, I forgot to move this, so we'll be on our last round of this season. So let's flip over our 4 cards. Oh my goodness, lots of bad stuff. I'm glad you used your 9.
Wow.
Yeah. Well, both of us are going to get stuck with something. Man. Alright, well, let's see here. Alright, so I am going to use this one here. Go ahead.
Okay, I'm looking at this. I'm still not going to be able to activate that because I don't have enough culture, so that stinks.
You have no culture.
And I'll do this one.
Okay, well, let me think here. Yeah, okay.
Oh, wait, you know what? This one's not going to do me any good.
Yeah.
It doesn't
Actually.
matter. It's not gonna make any difference.
Hey, actually, this ain't gonna do me any good either. Okay, I'm ready. Let's do this. Come on, you. Just do it.
What's okay? There.
You did 4 as well.
I did 4 as well.
Yep.
I started out with 3, but I realized I don't have any companies with power dividends.
And
so.
I was going to try to grab this one here, but this ain't going to do me any good because I don't have any companies that give me dividends. So
right.
Okay, so both of us played our number 4 card, and it says either discard and score a special agenda, which she could discard and score that, but it ain't going to matter. Or you can buy power depending on how many actions that you have on your culture track. So both of us have 1, so both of us can purchase 1 power for free. So I'm going to put you at the 1 and me at the 6.
Okay.
And then that'll pretty well take care of this. And then you do have initiative, so go ahead. You get your first selection of one of these cards.
Well, it's just all so exciting.
Well, obviously you don't... This ain't going to hurt you. This would hurt you, the burned, because that can hurt you with the so... Yeah, it's not hard to choose, really.
Okay, I'm going to pick Training Day, which allows me to pay money equal to my organization level or current skill level. So I could change these if I wanted to.
Yeah.
To raise it by 1 level. So I'm going to pay 3.
Yep. And then that'll raise you up to the 4.
Which is going to let me have another card in my reserves.
Very good. Okay, and then I guess I'll take the influence, even though I'm not going to be able to do anything with it.
I would have been able to put it in my reserves, but I guess I couldn't expect you to take 2 events.
This event here says just not in time. Skip the action on your next bid card, which ain't going to matter. Because it's going to be the end of the season. This one's burned. And it says, at the end of this season, I must discard my highest unused bid card, which does hurt. So that means I would lose my number 9. Okay, so here's what we're going to do. Now that we're all finished up with the season, we're going to move this marker down to season 2. Well, before we do that, actually.
Before we do that, yeah.
Let's do this in order, okay? First thing we're going to do is we are going to collect the value off of each one of our unused bid cards. There's like a gray bar down at the bottom, and we're going to collect the money that's listed down in the bottom of them. So I would collect $3 for my unused.
And I would collect 5.
And then these will just go over here in the pile. Now we're going to collect the dividends on the bottom of our companies. So this More Wealth Inc. would give me $2.
And I get 5.
Okay. Now we are also going to be able to purchase power. The cost of power costs $1 per. So what we are going to do is show you just basically how you would actually score at the end of an entire game, okay? So we're going to pretend that this is the end of the 6th season, but we're going to use it just as the first season.
Right now, at the end of every season, you get to purchase power.
Correct.
So we're going to do that first.
But we're also going to reveal our secret agendas is what I was getting at. So I had $14, so I'll just purchase 14 power. And that'll put me at 20. And then keep in mind, you normally would not do this. Okay? And 5 more for you?
No.
Okay. Not gonna
No, I already did that. I had $12.
Right.
I purchased, I had $11.
Okay. Okay.
And so that's what we would do. Now we would move into the second season. But we're not going to do that.
Correct. Okay. Now we both can reveal our secret agenda. Okay? Mine says that I would get 2 power for each small capacity company that I run. Now, mind you, this would be done at the end of the game, not now. Or you could do it with your 4 bid card. So I have 1 small capacity company, so that'll give me an extra 2 power. So then this goes away.
Okay, I get power equal to my finance skill.
So that would be 4.
Which is 4.
1, 2, 3, 4. And then you have 1 there.
Yes. 4 power for each special agenda
1, 2,
in your reserve. So
3, 4.
that's only 4 because I only had 1.
Yep.
Okay.
All right. And then this one here says plus power for each company that gives you dividends, which I don't have any, or power in dividends, and I don't have any that give me power in my dividends. I had 1 down here in my reserves, but not in my active. So, okay, so that gives you a good idea on how the end game scoring would work. If that was like the very last round, we would add up all of our special agendas, we would purchase as much power as we could, and then we would just keep moving our markers. And as you can see, even though I did pull out a victory here, Carmen probably would have been running away with the game way early because she's so high on organization. She's beaten me, she's at least tied here, but she's beaten me here. She's got so many more companies, so it'd be very difficult for me to come back, but you can.
I learned my lesson from the last game we played.
So that gives you a great feel. Now take a look at the way that the table would actually look if we've played a full game. If you see this, We've got all these companies laid out. I mean, I've got 17 here laid out in front of me. The board, you can see how much we've scored. I mean, we've all them purple markers that you're seeing, that shows how many times we've looped around the 30 track. And I think in a two-player game, you just score more. And then you can see Carmen's pile, where she did not purchase a lot of companies, and that's where she says she learned the hard way. You've got to get companies in front of you. All right.
And you've got to get this organization track going, yes.
All right, Carmen?
Well, I gotta say, resource management is one of my favorite genres.
Yeah, you do like it.
Yeah. So this game reminded me of a lot of resource management games in that you're building up your engine, basically. In order to get resources each round, you want to keep building it. But it's not based on the resources. That's not how you win. It's actually based on the power track.
Yeah, and I found the game to be a bit deceiving because aesthetically this game does not look very pleasing to the eyes, but once you start playing it, you realize just how sound mechanically this game is, and I know it's a prototype, but still. You know, you're trying to slowly build things up, starting with the small businesses, getting up to the large, and as you build this up, you're trying to keep track of your finances, but at the same time, you're trying to liquidate companies to make sure you have enough room in your organization so you can actually have these companies active. And at the same time, you have to try to pay attention to where you are on each one of the 3 tracks. So a lot going on, but at the same time, it works so well together.
Right, and I gotta say another aspect of the game that I was surprised by, because when I read the instruction manual, I saw bidding, and I thought, oh no.
Especially for a 2-player game.
Right,
yes.
I thought somebody's gonna get all the money, they're gonna bid on initiative, and they'll get initiative every round. But no, that's not how the bidding works. It's actually that you select a card secretly. So that changes things.
Right, and the other thing about it is that sometimes you don't care about the initiative so much of getting the high bid. You care about the bonus on the card that you're bidding with.
Right.
And sometimes you're like, well, I'm going to go with this because the bonus is going to benefit me, and maybe I'll win the initiative. But as you saw, sometimes bad things are going to happen if you don't win that initiative because you're going to get stuck with them bad events.
So there's another decision you have to make. Do you want the higher number, or do you want to perform the action on maybe a lower number card?
Exactly. So we hope that you enjoyed this, and we hope it gave you a good understanding on how this game plays out by us playing through the one season. And if you liked what you saw, you can head over to Kickstarter because it is currently live by following this link right here, and that'll take you directly to it, and you can pledge yourself. As usual, thanks for watching. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Griffin Gaming, from new releases to pre-orders. Griffin Gaming. Enter in promo code GreyElephant for 5% off your order.